Hello. Thank you for listening. This is the near death experience of Maria, and this event occurred in the summer of 1994. Open quote. It should be noted that I have been diagnosed with sleep apnea many years after this experience, since the experience. I was asleep with my partner, and all of a sudden I was awake at the top of the room. And then I woke up, but when I woke up, I was at the top of the room looking down at me and my partner who was asleep. I thought, how odd. How did I end up here? Shortly after asking that question, my eyes suddenly became covered, but not to the point where I couldn't see, but it was like a veil over me, well over my eyes. Then there was a really warm light all around me, and the light was shining through the veil, a really warm light around me. Suddenly I began floating. I could feel that I was floating, which may sound weird, but I distinctly remember not moving my legs, but I was moving forward. I floated up to and was suddenly surrounded by people. Not physical people, but I'm sure they were the souls of people. Well, I'll say people, but I'm sure they were souls. I was surrounded by several of them, maybe 10 to 20. They were all welcoming me, and I could feel this overwhelming love. It was a loving embrace, and every time I really think about it, I get very emotional. That's emotional every time I really think about it. I could feel them talking to me, not with words that I could hear, but maybe telepathically. They were saying things like, "Welcome, welcome, it's so nice to see you." Their voices were so beautiful, and my heart felt so full with love and acceptance. It was an overwhelming sense of excitement that I was there. Just like when you see someone that you haven't seen in a long time, almost like you want to say, "Oh, you're here, you're here." Then you can't wait to put your arms around them. They said to me, "Come here, we want to give you a big hug." I mean, it was so beautiful, all caps. It's nothing you can explain here. It was amazing, all caps. Every time I think about all that warm love, it brings me to tears. At that time, I was 26 years old and didn't know anybody really close that had passed away. So I had no sense of knowing these people. But after being welcomed by everybody, so to speak, I remember them parting like a curtain. Then I floated forward, passing through them as they parted. I could feel that I was getting closer to somebody who was just beyond where they were all greeting me, and then I felt that I was face to face to this individual. Through my veil, I could see a bright light, then the outline of his face, the holy face of Jesus. The light was beautiful and warm and appeared to be emanating from Jesus, along with overwhelming love and compassion, all caps. Even though there was a glow and my eyes were still covered with the veil, I was able to see the outline of Jesus' face. Sometime after this experience, I saw a documentary of the holy image of Jesus on the Shroud of Turin, and it is the exact image I saw through the veil that day. At first, I never heard words, but he welcomed me. I think I was being embraced because I felt so much peace and love. He asked me if I was ready to be with him, and I was immediately torn because I couldn't stand the thought of leaving the presence of Jesus and his love. But instead, I reluctantly told him that I needed to return for the sake of my three daughters, all under the age of 5. I told myself they did not, nor would not, have a stable life with their father if I were gone, and felt this incredible need to return immediately. I knew at that moment with complete certainty my life's earthly task was to love them and protect them. I could feel in my mind this agonizing pain and felt a need to cry because I also wanted to stay with Jesus forever. I wanted to stay in that warm, unconditional love, and I told him that I felt an incredible concern and commitment to protect my children and was very worried about what their lives would be like without a mother. Jesus asked me 2 more times if I would stay with him, but I hesitated. Each time he asked me to stay, I could feel this pain and sadness in my heart because I knew I had to make a choice between returning to my children, who I loved more than anything, or staying to stay with Jesus, who loved me more than anything. I wanted to stay with Jesus. I wanted to stay in that unconditional love and peace. It was a peace where I could feel nothing else but a quiet stillness around me except the love from Jesus. Yet despite that glorious feeling, I told him that I couldn't stay. When I think about it now, I don't know if I felt that my part in my children's life was so valuable, or if I was so worried about what my children's father could or would do to them. You see, on the day of this experience, I had been scheduled for surgery only a few days after this experience, and I had recently told my family to watch my children if anything happened to me in surgery. Weeks prior to my surgery date, I had a strong feeling that something bad was going to happen to me, and I was concerned about the children being in the complete care of their father. He asked me for a third time. I hid my face in my hands in shame as I refused the powerful love from Jesus. And immediately I heard a loud booming sound, and I felt an incredible push. And he said, all caps, "Then you must go back." And then suddenly I was pushed back by a wind with such a powerful force. I remember immediate darkness as I fell down into my body. I say fell down because I was falling backwards as I was thinking, no, an immediate regret. Then there was an internal dialogue where I wanted to negotiate with Jesus. I had questions about my life, my life with my children, the outcome of my surgery, and so much more, but I was out of time. All of this was in seconds before I felt my soul bounce 3 times into my body. But before the final bounce, Jesus told me, "Don't worry about the surgery. You will come out of it okay." When I opened my eyes again, I was in bed, choking and gasping for air as if I had not been breathing. When the gasping stopped, all I could feel was pain, sadness, and regret. I cried for 2 to 3 hours straight before I could share with my partner what had happened to me. When I reflected on the experience, I feel that I have failed my children in so many ways, and they are angry at me. My daughters are grown, and I wonder if returning made a positive difference in their life or not. Throughout their childhood, I tried so hard to make the second chance God gave me worthy of his love. I returned to my faith and enrolled my children in CCD, the Catholic Religious Education Program. I went to counseling to work on myself. I dated with my faith in mind, hoping to find a better husband who would be a good male role model and a faithful husband. I married with the intention to model a pious and healthy family life. Yet it seemed the harder I tried, the more challenges I faced with, and the hope was slowly replaced with pain and sadness. And instead of reaching out to Jesus for guidance, I turned away. It took me years to find my faith again, but I'm getting closer to Jesus and know someday I will be there again. When that happens, I'm not coming back! Exclamation mark. End quote. That was a great story, but sad, of course. I mean, you're going to come back for your kids, and then they don't even, turns out they're grown, and she's wondering if her returning made a positive difference in their life. I don't know. There are some questions here. Comparing your vision. Answer. One example is that when I was looking at myself and my partner on the bed, it was different than when looking at two people on a bed with my earthly eyes. Another thing is that the light was incredibly bright, but it wasn't blinding, and that was surprising for how bright it was. And comparing your hearing, answer, it was more instant thought to thought that was related to me. I wasn't hearing words or seeing mouths move, and I usually have a tendency to watch people's lips move when they talk. So with me, it was an instant thought that came. I wasn't hearing with ears. Question, did you encounter or become aware of any deceased or alive beings? Answer, yes. I'm confident that the souls knew me by the way they were interacting with me, but I couldn't identify any of them. Later, I had a sense that maybe they could have been descendants or people's lives that I may have touched who have since died. Question, did you see an unearthly light? Answer, yes, the light had a warmth to it, like when you're out by a beach, there's something very calming about being on the beach and the feeling of warmth on your skin. And now that I think about it again, that's the feeling I recall from the light. Also, as mentioned above, it was incredibly bright, but not in an unpleasant way. Question, did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer, the way I was brought up when I was little was that I thought I would be afraid of God and would be punished. But after I left home, I met friends and a girlfriend in particular who had more of a spiritual, non-religious take, and that this life was just an arena or an experience to advance your soul. After having the experience, I had a belief that what the Catholic faith was true in many ways, but so were some of the things I was learning from my friends about spirituality. Question, did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer, yes, the afterlife is not to be feared. Question, did you seem to encounter a mystical being or presence or hear an unidentifiable voice? Answer, I encountered a definite being. The voices of the welcoming souls were beautiful, and when I was speaking with Jesus, it was beautiful, but different from the souls that greeted me. There was a more elevated sense of peace and comfort that was something like a father speaking to his child. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about universal connection or oneness? Answer, yes. There definitely is a soul existence after our body dies. The souls clearly knew or were connected to me somehow, and that they were aware of what had been going on in my life. A soul connection. Question, during your experience, did you gain information about the existence of God? Answer, yes. Speaking with Jesus and the overwhelming love and peace and compassion as differentiated from how others were speaking gave me a feeling they were the same, Jesus/God. It was like a father speaking to its child with the love, compassion, and patience. Question, what life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer, large changes in my life. The biggest thing that happened to me is that I became incredibly sensitive to my environment. I believe I feel things that I don't know where they come from, but very sensitive, and I'm around a lot of people. I absorb a lot of people's pain and haven't learned how to stop that or get rid of it because it's difficult. Question, was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer, yes, it's difficult without getting emotional, and the content that is difficult for anyone here on earth to relate to is the love of God/Jesus, feel the love that God/Jesus feels for us. We read about how much God loves us. Jesus died for us, but without going through this experience, I don't think anyone can comprehend it. Question, how accurately do you remember the experience? Answer, when I share this experience, I am immediately there. I feel that love, and I also still feel the sadness of leaving there as much as I did at that time. Question, are there one or several parts of your experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer, the part where I'm face to face with Jesus and it feels that he's hugging me and the incredible amount of love and compassion I felt. I grew up in an abusive home and never really felt love, and so that moment of spiritual embrace by Jesus was really profound. End quote, end question. And isn't it interesting how you come back from heaven and things aren't really like you think that they would be or should be, or this lady's questioning maybe if she should have come back or not. There's been a lot of people do that. The lady who was the bodybuilder that we had the experience several times ago thought things were going to happen right away, but it takes time. Got to move the pieces into place, and things have to happen. Not really sure. I'm trying to figure it out myself. Thank you for listening.